Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast, where we have been ruining pro wrestling podcasting since 2014. Of course, it's Wednesday, which means it's hot takes time. We're going to read your hot takes, and then we're going to react to those hot takes, just like Larson just did there. What a girl. I've never seen, wow, that seemed painful, that last one right there. Oh yeah, you've got some problems there, pal. I don't think that's a reaction. That's a reaction to something going on inside. Anyway, despair. Anyways, we're going to see if we react with despair to some of your takes here. First up, from Name Here.
Name Here
Says, CM Punk is a top 10 wrestler ever for not just his in-ring / promo ability, but his influence as well.
Steve,
let me start this off really quick. Anecdotally speaking, the other night after we got our SmackDown review done, we went to Action Coast Wrestling, the promotion that we own, and went and we enjoyed the back half of some graps. Because
it was a good show. It was fun.
It was awesome. It's always a ton of fun. And there was one particular wrestler where you leaned over to me and said, "Boy, this guy sure likes CM Punk."
Oh, he did the lifting knee bulldog combo. Is that all the proof you need that CM Punk is top 10 all time?
Every indie show you go to, there is always at least one, usually more than one, who clearly are influenced by the archetypal wrestler that CM Punk kind of was the blueprint for. So I think his influence, you don't see a lot of John Cena lookalikes out there, but that sort of, Punk tattooed, cool guy, straight edge thing, you see that everywhere.
You know what? Here's a hot take. I think CM Punk is probably more important to the wrestling business for his influence as opposed to maybe his actual performances, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the influences of his performances are maybe more impactful than the performances themselves. Taken in a bubble. Outside of the pipe bomb. Obviously, from a performance standpoint, it's great. Wildly influential. People are still chasing their own pipe bombs to this day. So I understand that measure of influence. Like, he's always been a good in-ring worker, not the crispest, not the most athletic. He knows how to tell a story. But you can go to a lot of his matches like, that wasn't the sharpest. That wasn't the best. Even the Money in the Bank 2011, last time I watched it, I was pretty surprised how kind of in spots it wasn't crisp. But, the atmosphere, the story behind it, managed to overcome a lot of maybe not the best wrestling involved. Without a doubt, one of the best talkers, probably to ever be in the world of pro wrestling. Top 10 ever? I don't know.
Ever's a tricky. Ever.
It is.
So let's try this. Let's go back to 1985 as our starting point.
Sure.
In terms of top 10 pro wrestlers.
Encompassing everything.
Because,
yes?
dude, yeah.
Not just in-ring workers, not just talkers. Literally the best performers to ever get into this business.
I can almost guarantee I can name 10 better strictly in-ring guys since
Absolutely.
1985.
That's not that hard.
Here's my thing. I disagree with you on the wrestling stuff. I think he is a phenomenal wrestler, not a phenomenal athlete. I think he takes inspiration from the messier type things that you see in the South, or that you saw in the South in the 70s and 80s. I think, and maybe you're talking about something different, but I think that
I'm talking about his propensity to occasionally botch pretty badly.
Okay, I don't know about that, but I do think that the thing that I always loved about CM Punk, back when you and I were Punk guys and Chongo was a Cena guy, back when we were doing the Trio O podcast, which I should have offered that up as an option on the poll. Yeah. I always loved that. I thought that was
a good name, but
it's a good name.
It is a good name.
But anyways, is because Punk, I like the wrestlers, and that's why I like Roderick Strong, for example, is one of my favorite in-ring guys, because he always looks like he's blown up. Strong's stamina is off the charts, by the way.
Oh, it is.
But he always looks like he's in a fight. And I feel like Punk, to his best ability, and I think he did it really well, he always made it look like he was in a real fight. That's what I always gravitated to him because of that. But in terms of his in-ring stuff, I thought he was great at making that sort of Southern wrestling style where it just looks like you're in a fight. I think he did better at that than he did actual fighting in the UFC. I think his simulated matches were
what I'm talking about like kind of the occasional sloppiness is not that. It's not the intentional sloppiness.
Okay, gotcha,
you look at Roderick Strong wrestle, it looks like he's constantly on the verge of being out of control, but he's in total control the entire time.
Strong is so good. To this day, he's every time I see like a lower card match and Roderick Strong's on, I'm like, I'm going to be into this.
Exactly. That's not what I'm talking about when it comes to CM Punk. If you go back and watch...
You say he's a botch fest. Interesting.
I didn't say he was a botch fest, but even on his match with Cena at Night of Champions, there's a couple moments like, the timing on that's off.
Okay, I'll counter this with this. I'll counter that with this. That is not a good match to go to.
No, it's not. I'm just naming the most recent example. Like, even if you go back and watch Money in the Bank 2011, there's sequences in that, and it's like, that's clunky.
All right. Well, maybe I'll go back and look at that. You can.
I remember we did something. I think we did a going in raw view of that, and I hadn't seen it since for a number of years, and I was taken aback by sequences. Like, gosh, this kind of clunky pro wrestling here.
Wow. Okay.
And I guess you could say John Cena is not necessarily the most technically gifted pro wrestling dance partner one could have, but John Cena himself put on a fair share of quality matches.
Back in 2011, dude, he could 2010 to like 2016. That guy could go.
Yeah, he could go. And part of this is I knew you're gonna be effusive in your praise of CM Punk, so I'm trying to, for the sake of conversation, strike a counterbalance here. So we get both sides of the conversation.
Fair enough. Let's talk from 1985 on, the total package, the numbers don't lie package for pro wrestler.
All right. Two names that pop out, especially in earlier in that era, are Ric Flair and Randy Savage. Both great characters, great performers in and out of the ring, could deliver great matches.
Yeah. Boy,
Shawn Michaels, I think.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels for sure. It's funny. Do you still have the numbers don't lie spread? We ever do Punk? Did we ever do Punk?
Yeah, we did do Punk.
What bust that out real quick. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. Let me pull it up real quick.
But top 10 since 1985. I definitely think Punk has a chance at that. I think he's got a chance.
So I'll tell you who the top 10 was, and numbers don't lie.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Number 1 was Becky Lynch.
Yeah. I think our numbers were flawed.
2 was John Cena. 3 was Okada. Then Bruno. Stone Cold, Charlotte Flair, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, Rey Mysterio, Shawn Michaels.
Where was Punk on that?
Give me a second.
Wasn't he like near Undertaker or something like that?
He was 33rd.
33rd?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to re-examine our math on that one. I don't think Becky deserves to be number 1. I mean, I know we gave her like way too high in presentation. She had a shirt that said the man. That was kind of it. Like that ain't right. In any event, one day maybe we'll revisit that. Since 1985, does he have a chance of being top 10? If you include influence and legacy, I think he does. Because I think that Punk, especially back then, inspired just a shit ton. For better or worse, to be honest with you. Because the thing about Punk is that he had that kind of, even though he's like a big dude, like amongst average people anyway, like normal, he's WWE size because he's short for 6'2",
Yeah.
But I do think that his branding is probably, it's up there with like Hogan's branding. It is iconic. Punk's look is iconic. And that, I think, influenced a lot of people. And him being what he was on the mic was highly influential as well. We can
I mean,
quibble
he's the one
about
that brought the kind of shoot style promos to mainstream.
Yeah,
WWE,
yeah.
You know.
So, I mean, dude, when you look at the Attitude Era, especially trying to crack, I mean, dude, you could probably name, I don't know, at least 4 from the Attitude Era that you could put in the top 10 since '85.
Yeah.
And then you got, you got Hogan, you got Piper, you got Savage, as you mentioned,
Cena,
you got Shawn Michaels, you got Ric Flair. So top 10 is a lot, but in terms of his influence, if you're strictly talking the influence factor, bro, hard not to put him in top 5.
I'm happy we agree because that's exactly what I said, Steve.
Well, there you go. There you go. I'm really curious. We have to do a deep dive into him being a botch fest, though. You're like, good Lord, this guy's missing everything there is.
A botch fest is overstating it, but he's not the Christmas wrestler.
I know. I'm just taking.
Just watch him try to hit the buckshot and the hangman and have him fail 3 times.
You know what's funny is that he's like the guy who's least suited to use the GTS as a finish. It's such an ugly move when he does it.
I know.
But then I kind of appreciate that about it as well. But like, he ain't getting any younger.
No.
And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, didn't he use the Anaconda Vice for a finish?
He did for a short spell, but then after you watch him like actually do real fighting, I can't believe that he'd submit anybody. So
it's also a really boring move, you know. But then the GTS isn't exactly an RKO, you know.
No. Bernard Hedspeth with a hot take here says AEW will never reach 1 million viewers again.
So I got a counter to this. It probably does now. All we get now is like, okay, so let's say they get
live numbers.
They get 600,000 live on a Wednesday night as it's happening. You cannot tell me that you can't add, I don't know how much on the max numbers. I don't know how much on the +3, how much on the +7s. And if we're talking like strictly people who watch Dynamite from beginning to end, or the first half hour even, I don't know. I feel like in good faith, you can add YouTube numbers to that because you can see tons of clips on that where you can digest entire, like you can follow along with what's going on. That's a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
International, you add that into it. You cannot tell me that most episodes of Dynamite don't get 1 million viewers in total. I don't know how many people are rewatching it. I think there's a ton of people who are not reflected in the Nielsen ratings. Now, I don't know what that number is. That's my own speculation, but I feel like it's kind of informed by some amount of common sense. What's
no, yeah, 1,000%, because they average about 600,000 for the live audience on Wednesday evenings. That doesn't include max numbers. That doesn't include, as you mentioned, the DVR numbers, so on and so forth. Doesn't include international. Now, if the spirit of this question is they don't get 1 million viewers in the United States, or if maybe the spirit of this question is they'll never get 1 million viewers, in the Nielsen ratings.
This 600,000 will never go up to 1 million.
Yes, I think I would guess that's more the spirit of the hot take as opposed to cumulatively they don't get 1 million viewers per week, because I think you could pretty easily make that claim just based on common sense. But if, again, the spirit of this is they'll never get back to drawing 1 million plus viewers live on a Wednesday night. The wrestling business is weird in that fortunes can change really quickly. If WWE hits a really rough patch of creative for whatever reason, and Tony Khan starts coming up with the most inspiring stuff imaginable, gets people talking, has enough moments on there, people feel like they can't miss it. It's possible it could happen. Is it likely? Maybe not. But I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that one day, if they put on consistently really good programming, that AEW could maybe get back up to 1 million viewers.
I think, let me put it this way. I think time is probably a ticking on that. And this is why I think that if we're doing this, if we're taking the spirit of this question, which I think it's probably reasonable to think that Bernard Hedspeth is saying the overnight 600,000 that they get now is not going to get to 1 million. The reason why I think they're probably right about that is right now. So like, I don't know how much I can really take the Netflix Raw number beyond faith. It's like it's 2 million. It's Netflix reporting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even Nielsen's systems are like antiquated, but let's say that's what we're going by right now.
In fact, Brandon Thurston on his WrestleNomics TV ratings has included Raw since beginning of this year on his quarterly averages, because I don't know if there's a good accurate way to ascertain, not that Nielsen ratings are, to gauge the viewership for Raw here domestically in the States on Netflix. I just don't know if there is.
SmackDown right now gets about 1.5 mil. And
lately it's been less than that.
Well, it's been hovering at like 1.4, but I think I just saw this week was like 1.5. I think it was 1.5. The way TV numbers in terms of the Nielsen ratings, cable, cord cutting, et cetera, are trending are generally downward.
Mm-hmm.
The ceiling for pro wrestling is probably around those SmackDown numbers. Mm-hmm. Like, if WWE was on fire, like maybe 1.8, maybe that's what they'd be doing these days if it was on fire. But, dude, they load these shows up. Like, they got Cena and Cody at the same time on the same show.
Under the same roof. If it was like Cena goes to AEW and he brings along with him CM Punk, I'm just saying what gets them there. Yeah.
Cena, Punk, and like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of the cool fact. They're kind of
and AJ Styles. AJ Styles goes there too.
AJ, throw AJ.
We get an early Bullet Club reunion on AEW television.
Perfect.
Something like that. You
put those guys on there. I think maybe they can try. They can get to. I think they can get to 1 million. AEW right now is not trying to do that though. They're not. They're like, oh, let's entice these huge names to come over. They're going the slow, steady, consistent route now with the guys that they want to roll with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think these days that, because Vince rolled with his dudes in '98. He rolled with the Austin that he had made into Stone Cold, Mankind, Triple H, blah, 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 DX, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's possible. I just don't know if that's I don't know if that level of talent. Dude, that is a ridiculous level of talent right there. I don't know.
Well, it's partially the talent, but it's also how the show was presented.
Yeah, sure.
And not to say that AEW should try to recapture the presentation of the Attitude Era. Far from it.
I actually do, to be honest with you. But
you do? All right.
I don't like all the purples and greens and red. Like, that logo is just a goddamn mess of. I can't stand that. I can't. It's so ugly.
But I think in a very general sense, what made the Attitude Era such a great success is people were tuning in to see what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
And part of that was the shock value, but part of that, on occasion, they actually told some pretty interesting stories.
They did, with some good characters.
And some great characters in WWE and WCW, for that matter, during the Monday Night Wars. That's what brought viewers in.
There was this clip on Twitter that I came across, and it was when Dean Malenko revealed himself as Cyclope. I'm sorry, Cyclope revealed himself as Dean Malenko and attacked Chris Jericho. That crowd popped so huge. Their undercard was WCW's undercard was fucking legit.
It really was. Then. It was loaded. It was absolutely loaded. So, and again, is it possible? Maybe, maybe not. But again, it's just one of those things. If somehow lightning in a bottle is captured in AEW and it becomes the talk of the wrestling world, like it was in 2021, if they could recapture that magic to some degree, which might not even be possible, I'm not going to dispel the chance entirely that they can't get back up there. Is it a long shot? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wrestling is a really weird thing in that it can't, like you said, the fortunes change really quick if people start being like, this WWE stuff is crap.
They're like, turn on Raw, like there's more commercials than wrestling on this show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they'd probably just find. That's the other thing to consider also, is that I feel one of the reasons why things are so much different now in terms of how quickly. Let me put it this way. I'll put it this way. I feel like it's way easier for the wrestling fortunes to turn downward than it is to go upward. And that's because of the just immense amount of competition in the entertainment world. I mean, it's just, you're competing with TikTok, Instagram, streaming services, and of course, sleep.
Yep. AJ Daniels here says John Cena was only hated by the IWC because that audience was people who mainly only experienced the Attitude Era, so that Hulk Hogan type of babyface wasn't going to get over with them when they were used to Stone Cold.
Well, I feel like you got to take the IWC out of it because the live audiences were really like weird about Cena too.
Yeah.
They would give him all sorts of shit. And then he'd have to act like he didn't care about it.
I wonder if, and I'm not going to say that maybe after experiencing wrestling with a lot of anti-heroes on the programming, that the WB viewing audience was ready for more of a traditional hero, and maybe there was some disconnect there. I don't know. I wonder if Cena, once he kind of settled into the post Dr. Thugonomics character, I think his character just didn't really change for since he turned heel earlier this year, for almost 20 years, I wonder how much of that was an issue in terms of the fans just kind of getting bored with the character of John Cena, as opposed to, this fan base just doesn't want a traditional old school baby face. It's like, well, give us some dimension, give us some evolution of your character.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one very strong aspect of it, is that he didn't evolve. He had different color T-shirts, and that's it. I think the other aspect of it, though, is, and I'll never forget. I think it was John Pollock who said this on the Post Wrestling show. I think it was him. Said something along the lines of WWE creative, especially during the spell where Cena was the man, was so underwhelming, and the crowd would use Cena. Actually, no, I'm sorry.
Sounding board, yeah.
Did he say that about Cena or Reigns? I feel like it applies to both.
It does, and it's since they can't directly direct their angst about the product towards Vince and creative, they did it towards the top stars instead. Yeah,
I think it was about Cena because he was talking about Cena's heel turn. I forget. Apparently, I did forget. But in any event, I feel like some of it is that it's like, hey, you're giving us some lackluster shit, so we're going to direct our anger towards John Cena. But also, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Cena rarely. I mean, this is what he's famous for. He's famous for never really encountering much adversity. And that's one thing that you and I have talked extensively about, the importance of Cody Rhodes facing adversity, and that is going to affect how people view him.
Yep.
And Cena never did. I mean, I think I've always defended the burial of the Nexus, because I look at the Nexus and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of feel like taken individually, there was Wade Barrett. Obviously, they got something good with Skip Sheffield with Ryback for a period of time.
Yeah.
But otherwise, dude, I don't know what those other guys would have done, really. But that being said, yeah, it was ridiculous. It's like 8 guys versus the one guy. He just dismantled them. There needs to be some adversity.
Yeah, because even if it's a situation where, all right, well, long term, especially in hindsight, there are several members of the Nexus that didn't necessarily reach their potential within WWE, at least for the short term. Give Cena some adversity to overcome, not just over the course of one match, but over the course of several months, and see what happens.
Yeah, he never looked anything but completely in control of every situation.
Mm-hmm.
That is not interesting at all.
Nope.
That is not interesting. So, and then, Vince's, you just keep him at the top of the card with the title. Always, always, always. It was like, come on, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a couple things, but I think there's a kernel of truth here in terms of the type of character that people were used to and wanted to see. It seemed like a reversion of sorts.
Yeah.
All right, next up from... Oh, by the way, mention this really quick because we're 25 minutes into the show. Predictions. we've got the big predictions challenge coming up this August. That's only in like a week from now.
Yeah.
A little bit more than a week. August 2nd and 3rd, of course, is SummerSlam. It's also the kickoff to the August predictions challenge, which will also include Forbidden Door and the other one, Clash in Paris.
of Paris. Yep.
Right. But it all kicks off the 2nd and 3rd of August. I'll do a prize reveal later this week. You guys can see what the prize is, so you can be like, oh, I definitely want that. Ooh. And, of course, obviously, you get to be the guy who dethrones the guy who dethroned me. Sorry, the guy who dethroned the guy who dethroned me. Yeah, exactly. Predictions challenge. Click join right here, youtube.com/Stephen Larson, or go to patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Click on the Friendo Club setup. Get in on the predictions challenge.
Yeah. Yep. Joker Smiley's next. Says the A-Town Down Under split was the worst executed tag team split in the history of wrestling.
Again, the history of wrestling? The history of wrestling?
That's kind of all-encompassing, isn't it?
That's a lot. Even if you got, I don't even know that. I mean, look, it was bad. Don't get me wrong. It's bad.
Let me ask you this. What was worse, this or like when the Dudley boys were split up via draft?
So I feel like the Dudleys being split up via draft happened on camera, in frame. They're the focal point. They're the focus of attention. They said their goodbyes. It was a really sad moment. I think that this is probably worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a story beat. The draft was a story. It was a plot, right? Like, the draft is just a story. It's incredibly underwhelming. It's really shitty, especially if, like, they didn't know in advance, which I don't know if they did or not. But, yeah, that's not good at all, being split up by draft. At all. But I saw it happen. They showed it to us.
Well, I guess if you're really paying attention, you might have seen the dissolution of A-Town Down Under when they were arguing backstage, because that might have been when
Where's Waldo segment.
The final straw. Well, that's Triple H's. He likes storytelling that way, where stuff, seemingly important stuff, now happens in the background.
I mean, there's got to be an upper limit to like the level of importance of things.
You got to pay attention.
Okay. All right. I mean, ideally now, the Cena Cody main event SummerSlam match will just happen in the background of like a Omos interview, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, history is a lot. I'll be honest. I think let me add this layer to it.
Sure.
When you look at potential versus, I'm thinking of the Acclaimed, all right? Their breakup was awful.
It was.
They were massively popular.
Yep.
And then, like, Caster just sort of started being really passive-aggressive. And then eventually Bowens decided, he said, Caster said, it's him or me, Billy Gunn or me. And instead of doing a really cool heel thing and Bowens kicking Billy Gunn, which would be pretty cool maybe, it seemingly, I don't know what the deal was. They wanted to split. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they did. I don't know what the deal was. Seemingly they wanted to split. Caster wanted to be a solo guy. That's what I got from the TV anyways. They split, and it's just a very, really? This is what happened? This was just really lame.
Yeah.
That team was so popular, they really underwhelmed with the split.
Oh, yeah.
A-Town Down was just this lingering thing. Like, they were tag champs, and then from, like, the moment they became tag champs, it was like, okay, countdown to this breaking up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it fizzled out. So it's not like it was like, wow, this was like the top of the division. It was like, these guys they're just going to end up breaking up. And then it just fizzled, and then nothing, and
And that's kind of the reason I brought up, say, the Dudley Boys breakup, because you have the story tag team, won the tag titles, so many times, and they break up via draft, and I think you're onto something as far as the legacy score of the team in question. Well, their breakup should, be in relation to their legacy score.
Yeah.
And you have a team like the Dudleys, well, their breakup should be impactful. It should be huge because they made such a massive impact on tag team wrestling. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was just kind of, they went out with a whimper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think it's an interesting discussion to have. I mean, they're
Yeah.
both awful. They're both awful. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what was the? I mean, I don't know. In another way, you said this the other day about somebody had asked what is the most natural end of the Death Riders, and I said Mox goes away to go on vacation or whatever. He's gone for, let's say, a month, maybe 2 months. He comes back. In the meantime, the other Death Riders tag together here and there, but then just sort of fizzle out. They stop.
Yeah.
He comes back, doesn't reform them, and that's just how it is. And you said that's how it can be in real life. Does this A-Town Down Under situation mimic more how it kind of is in real life, where there's not like a big blow up moment? It's
Well,
like,
there was. It happened in the background, though.
yeah, but when I say big blow up moment, it didn't happen in front of everybody,
I mean, I would agree with you, but I think historically, even under Triple H, that's just not how things go.
Yeah.
So much of what Triple H does is all about, let's heighten the drama. And there's so many moments.
What explains this then? What explains this?
I don't know. Maybe it was a situation where, like, we want them to break up. What are they going to do afterwards? Who knows? And so there was no follow through post breakup, and so they just kept pushing it until, I guess, now that Theory is injured, then it kind of forced their hand. All right, we got to do something with Waller. Team is done.
Could
Best
be.
I got.
That sounds as accurate as anything could be.
Hot take here from Ozzy says ending to Hell in a Cell 2018 is worse than 2019. This was Braun Strowman's cash in. The match gets thrown out after Brock attacks everyone in a freaking Hell in a Cell match. I 1,000% agree with this. I can understand the rest rationale for trying to prevent a murder and DQing Seth in the 2019 Hell in a Cell. I know a lot of people like it. I understand it. Throwing out the 2018 Hell in a Cell match just because Brock Lesnar gets in the ring, that makes no sense.
What is obviously the most noteworthy, popular, well-regarded, biggest legacy Hell in a Cell match ever, Larson?
It's the first one, or not the first one. It's the Mankind and Undertaker. Yeah,
Exactly.
second one, I guess.
They stopped the shit out of that match. He went through the thing, or they went off the thing. They wheeled him back. He came back. He went up the thing. He came through the thing. They stopped the match. He came back, and then they actually did finish it. But they did actually stop that match several times because they thought
Twice, yeah.
they didn't want him to get murdered by The Undertaker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess they did actually finish it, though he did get pinned. But whatever. 2018, in my opinion, is way worse than 2019. And by the way, two things. Number one, where was Ozzy back in 2019 where we were getting shit on? He better been in the comments back then saying, no, these guys are totally right. Last year was way worse. Number two, shout out to Ozzy Osbourne because, of course, he passed.
Yeah, that's sad.
Just today. Yeah, that is sad.
Yeah.
76 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. The Braun Strowman one was horrible. It was awful. It didn't make any sense. At least the 2019 one had logic to it. A murder was about to occur.
Yep. Hot take here from your channel. Says, too many people hate Goldberg to realize his frustrations with how WWE managed his retirement is just a part of the wider issue of how WWE has been managing their big shows as of late.
So Goldberg gets no sympathy, not because WWE screwed him over here, because they did. It's because he's so fucking unlikable. And he's already, with a large section of the fan base, he's already burnt up any and all goodwill he might have had. So him whining and complaining, even though he says he's not complaining, kind of buries whatever might have happened with him in WWE.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
He doesn't get the benefit
it might
of
have
the doubt.
been WWE's fault with all this stuff,
Absolutely. It 1,000% could have been. And you're right. He is blown through so much goodwill with the fan base that it's hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. Regardless of the issue. Now, yeah, it's entirely possible WWE mismanaged this whole thing. They used his retirement match as fodder to try to counter-program All In. And, I've said for a while, his retirement match should have been on the pay-per-view. You could have marketed a pay-per-view around Goldberg's last match. Easily. And the fact they didn't do that or even attempt to do that, a 3-week build, an actual build. I know they set it up months ago, but an actual 3-week build is nothing. Is absolutely nothing. And the two things could coexist. We could be critical of Goldberg, and we could also be critical of how WWE handled his retirement match. Absolutely.
The prevailing sentiment in our comments, online, whatever, is you're lucky you got what you did. And if he hadn't gone on Ariel Helwani and a report came out saying WWE mismanaged this thing one after the other, the prevailing sentiment would still be you're lucky for what you got. For people to back WWE over Bill tells you just how little goodwill he's got with the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
He just comes off as that old, entitled boomer guy. He's just the Karen of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what he's made himself into.
Yep. The Wallinator here with the hot take says Jacy Jayne has experienced the most unlikely and meaningful rise to prominence since Jinder Mahal. You know, I don't know if Jinder was literally out of nowhere because he was off TV for a while. He got in fantastic shape. And then, within the span of 3 weeks, he was world champion.
Yeah.
That time frame is probably off, but I'm just saying. It was a really short amount of time.
It was really quick.
Jacy was part of Toxic Attraction, tag champ many times over. Even after Toxic Attraction broke up, she had that feud with Gigi Dolan. Like, she's been a regular on NXT TV. Not that they, for large stretches, did much with her, but once they formed Fatal Influence, it's that for sure got her on TV on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And they got an interesting dynamic between the three of them. And I'm happy Jacy won the title and is getting a run.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Since Jinder, maybe. But Jinder was literally out of nowhere when he won the title. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is a bit apples and oranges for me as well. Like you said, she's been on TV since 2.0. Did she precede 2.0?
I think briefly, yeah.
I think she did briefly. For a little bit. But, obviously they probably see she's dependable. She puts in the work. She's reliable. I think she has more dimension than Fallon Henley, her stablemate partner. So, I mean, it is surprising, but I honestly think this is one of those things where maybe you look at Shawn Michaels and maybe he sees, hey, you know what? I think she can run with this. I really do, because I see her every day and I see the work she puts in. Mm-hmm. I see, so you got to trust a little bit in HBK here. It was fairly sudden in terms of she was at a certain point in the card, and then boom, she's up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the gender thing, that's a bit apples and oranges, I think.
Yeah. Next up, Shotgun Sean here with a hot take says Forbidden Door season is the worst period in the AEW calendar.
Yeah, hard agree.
I agree with this too.
Honestly, Forbidden Door sticks out like a sore thumb. Because they have to stop everything and, bring in a bunch of this. Forbidden Door made so much sense back in whenever they first did it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a sense these days.
Not as much, no. Nope.
They should probably just do they've had cross-promotional matches just in the regular run of their for example, if they did MJF versus Mystico, which I think there was a report that was it Mystico or Hechicero has actually signed a U.S. deal with AEW.
It was Hechicero, yeah.
It was Hechicero. Yeah. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
But if you run MJF Mystico on a pay-per-view, that makes some sense because they've been doing the story.
Yep.
But I don't know if they're just going to throw a bunch of shit together. Is it going to be a bunch of AEW versus AEW? What's it going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. And the fact that it's just being billed right now as an AEW and New Japan show as opposed to AEW, New Japan, and CMLL. Mm-hmm. because the way that CMML talent has been worked into AEW programming of late has provided some really good matches. And as you mentioned, the MJF Mystico story has been decent, and it would be interesting to actually see a follow-up match since the last one was wonked.
Yeah.
And it would make all the more sense now, given how much CMLL talent is worked into AEW programming on such a regular basis, to build up stories you could feature at a show like this. But seemingly that's not in the cards. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, they don't really do stuff with New Japan, and New Japan is just sort of like,
it's kind of a shell of what it was even just 5 years ago.
Ouch. They're in a rebuild. You're right. Look, no lies are being told here. They're in a rebuild right now.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. You know, they don't have the aid. It's kind of shocking that New Japan still does stuff with AEW, given that AEW basically is just like,
anytime some New Japan talent's a free agent, AEW seems to sign them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Next
up, Jamie Salam says, or Jaime Salam says, all wrestling is lacking in silliness and comedy today. Dude, Jelly Roll. There's a dude named Jelly Roll. He's going to be on the SummerSlam. That's goofy. That's funny.
I mean, if the idea here is, and I'm gonna, this could be interpreted as shade, but I don't mean it that way.
Okay.
WWE is very much trying to play to mainstream entertainment. They want to be seen as mainstream entertainment, like other TV shows or movies and stuff like that. And part of that is they've kind of sterilized the product. Not to say there's not comedy. There is. I don't necessarily know if they lean into the ridiculousness of pro wrestling as much as they could.
Triple H wants to be prestige television, which it'll never be that. But
no.
he's aiming to make it. He leans into the drama for sure, absolutely, 1,000%. AEW, I think, is willing to get a little bit more silly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tony, the Tony Tombstone, I'm not a bit, went viral on Instagram. It's got huge numbers. So yeah, AEW, they'll lean into, I think, a bit more than WWE.
Without a doubt,
they lean into the absurdity a bit more. You can't say all wrestling is lacking. And I'm assuming Yano still does stuff in New Japan.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does.
Yano's
absolutely.
Great.
Maybe once Orange Cassidy gets back on AEW television.
I mean, shit. TNA's got the hometown man there. You can't tell me that's not
so did you see the comment? Apparently, he dresses in the color scheme of whatever city they're in, their sports team. I guess they were in Pittsburgh
sense.
And he was in Steelers.
Okay.
Inspired gear.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think this is Spatha?
Or Spatha.
Hot take. LWO should be given the belts to see what they can do with them.
How about Los Garzas? They should be given the belts. We know what they could do with belts. They can hit that finish on people. It's devastating.
I feel like the idea that you put a title on anybody to see what they can do with it, it's not exactly the right approach, because there's a lot of times they're like, all right, we're going to put the Intercontinental title, for example, on somebody. Let's see what they can make of this.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no plan, if there's no strategy, if there's no vision for what their reign is going to look like, guess what they're going to do with it? Probably not much, because there's no story being told.
It ends up being like when Ricochet had the IC title, and then Vince didn't put him on pay-per-view for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it's not really, he's not doing anything with him. It's not going to change anything now that he's got a championship. It's just going to delegitimize the belt to a degree. So yeah, you need story, you need character before you put the belt on him.
Exactly. So if you want to actually tell some stories with Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde within the tag division, that'll get them over way more than just putting the tag titles on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Put them in a situation where they can develop their character and make a connection with the fan base. Then they'll get over.
Yeah, I agree.
The Beans. This would be a hot take, I know, for you, Steve. Seth Rollins' briefcase is actually a good-looking briefcase.
It's not. Nothing Seth Rollins has ever had in terms of his logo or merch design, which is ironic given how wonderfully fashionable his sense of fashion is. He's got a wonderfully flamboyant fashion style, and yet his merchandise is like shit that you get at Five Below. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like his logo his logo is it's like the SR equivalent of that old S you used to draw in school.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah.
It's ugly as shit. You want
Always has been, too.
inspiration? Naomi's Money in the Bank. Tiffany's Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Damian Sandow's leather attaché case. It made sense.
It did make sense.
It's just
It did make
Seth's is
sense.
just it's a black briefcase with like a gold gradient on the logo.
You know what they should have done? And maybe this is probably too difficult and maybe expensive, and that's why they don't. You know, on his Tron, the background, the color of the background changes based on what he's wearing. Mm-hmm. If you've ever noticed that. Like if he's got a purple ensemble, the background of his Tron is purple.
All LED.
Do something with that with the briefcase.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. You got to spruce this thing up. You know, you could do that these days with like LED panels.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that, of course.
Yep.
No, this is awful. Yeah, I put this one on here because I wanted to run it down. So thank you, the Beans, for letting me do that.
Bucket Dipper here says WB have wasted 10 years of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates' careers.
So, I thought about this one when I saw it. They are terrific wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
They got about as much charisma as a bucket of sand. And I don't know what you do with that. I really don't. You can't do much with the shrug, Pete Dunne. And then when they talk, it's like, I don't really buy it. And then Tyler Bate, they had him do it like he was a meditation guy in NXT.
Hold on. Saying they have the charisma of a box of sand?
A bucket of sand.
Bucket of sand, sorry. You watched the British Strong Style vignettes.
I saw
when they were doing that thing.
There was one decent promo, and Tyler Bate came off as kind of cool because he was very mumbly.
Yeah.
That's it. And here's the problem with that. Who was the most charismatic guy in that vignette you're talking about?
It was Trent Seven. Bring Trent Seven back.
He's not even there.
No, bring him back.
He's doing interviews at Glass.
He can do the rave interviews in his spare time, but heck, bring him back.
Yeah, dude. I do think that British Strong Style as a trio in that Peaky Blinders kind of thing that you're referencing.
They played off each other really well.
I think that could have worked. But since they ditched that back in 2018 to get into the WWE, never was going to work. Never was going to work. Pete Dunne, see, here's the thing. I was about to say Pete Dunne could have been an earlier version of Ilya, but Ilya's got charisma out the ass. Ilya's got that charisma. Oh, my God. Oh, he's so intense.
He makes all the faces because he's so intense, yeah.
I mean, the hot take really should be Pete Dunne should have stuck with the Butch character.
Oh, gosh.
I really wanted success for those guys. I really did. And maybe they'll still get it. But that shit just doesn't work for main roster. It's dead.
You know, they might fare better in AEW.
I think that's a possibility because that's where the best wrestle.
Exactly. Atticus here with a hot take says Gatorade is better than alcohol. Gatorade doesn't give you a hangover or make you act like a fool. It's refreshing and comes in many great flavors, while alcohol tastes like urine. Well, first of all, Atticus, maybe reconsider where you're getting your
drinking, dude?
Libations from, because alcohol should not taste like urine.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Like,
is someone making some bathtub booze out of pee?
Maybe that's a possibility. That's a possibility.
You know, I don't know if that's a possibility.
I mean,
some sort of grain.
Look, man, they're completely they serve completely and totally different functions. Hey, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble.
What?
What's the difference between somebody who claims they're straight edge and somebody who claims they're just sober?
Well, I mean, straight edge is more than just like don't do drugs and don't drink alcohol, right?
Is it?
Because, like, you know, depending on how far you want to take the straight edge thing, like they don't drink caffeine.
Yeah.
They won't smoke, you know.
Yeah, okay.
So I guess that would be the difference.
They're allowed to do it, though, right?
Straight edge?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I would believe so. I don't know. I've never really investigated the straight edge lifestyle that much.
I don't know why I landed on that. But getting back to Gatorade and alcohol, they serve two different functions. I wonder if Atticus is straight edge or sober, or if he, I don't know what his beef against alcohol is.
Well, I think the beef is evident. Atticus thinks alcohol tastes like pee.
You and I have been around each other when we've imbibed.
Uh-huh.
I have been drunk and acted like a fool. You have as well. That being said, if you just want like a nice, cold, refreshing beer, you don't act like it's been a while since I've acted like a fool because I've imbibed.
Yeah, same.
But
Usually now, if I imbibe at all, it just makes me sleepy.
Obviously, these are two completely different things.
Yes.
Gatorade is, or any hydration drink, it's meant for a certain thing. Usually, you do. I mean, the thing, it should be Gatorade comes after alcohol, not Gatorade is better than alcohol.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't even find Gatorade that refreshing because it's too sugary.
Yeah, if I do partake in Gatorade, it's like Gatorade Zero, and because it does legitimately like hydration drinks, number one, they do help with hangovers. Number two, they're very good at keeping away. Whenever on the liquid IV reads, when we talk about the hydration headaches, that shit is legit for me.
It is.
I can literally feel it coming on if I don't power up with some hydration drink. That's fucking so legit, and it ruins my day. My day is shot.
Yep.
So I have to these days.
Yep. All right, last one from Jason here says the new name of the podcast should be Larson and Steve's Sports Entertainment Extreme Podcast.
I mean, if this was 1998 to 2003, I think that'd be a very good name.
That would work. I thought of one the other day that's really bad. And the phrasing of it, or how you say it, would be important. It'd be podcast, no breaks. Because in terms of syllables.
Podcast, no breaks.
Yeah.
You'd have to land on the cast.
Exactly.
Podcast, no breaks.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't know if I'd want to raise the ire of Jacob Fatu. He might think that we're stepping on his shit.
That's a possibility, but hey, we're all from Sacramento.
Yeah.
Got that in common.
Be like, it's okay, 916, blood. And then I'd be like, you know what I mean? And then he'd probably just give me a moonsault.
Probably would.
Do that shit.
You put the poll up about what the name of the show should be. I don't consider myself a sentimental individual per se. But I was like, I kind of miss going in Raw, to be honest with you.
I do too.
Yeah.
But we don't have to worry about it for another week, maybe 10 days, I think.
Oh, the seconds are ticking, Steve. The time is counting down.
I know, man. I gotta come up with some new branding up here. We gotta come to grips
with what we're gonna do
down there. I know. I mean, honestly, like we wanted the people to decide. It's interesting, and I feel like here I'm gonna throw this out there. Been a while since we've done a bonus episode, but I was thinking about. I'm like, you know what, man? We just need to do one bonus podcast. Let's just start one bonus podcast a month, okay?
Sure.
After each WWE pay-per-view, we'll do. I don't know. So it's on our schedule. You know what I mean? After.
Yeah.
For example, we'll do one after SummerSlam. That'll be our August obligation. September obligation. Maybe do one after All Out if there's not one in September for WWE, but that's weird.
Oh, because they have Clash in Paris on the very last day of August.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. We'll do one after Clash in Paris. That'll be our September one.
Sure.
October, Crown Jewel Perth. We'll do one after that.
So after the
it'll be Friendo cast. We'll, open up to whatever questions. Or we could do a grunge thing. I don't care.
No, I feel like the grunge thing should be available to a larger audience because I think that's a good one.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep that for 2035 when we retire this show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't even know why I brought that up. But yeah, I do have to. We'll get that done. We'll get that.
Yeah.
done.
Why don't we just keep the presentation, but just change it back to going in Raw?
Yeah, I don't know because the presentation is part of the joke with the Cena stuff.
How about this? I assume once Cena loses and goes babyface again, he's going to go back to all the really bright graphics and stuff. Let's just follow suit. Find like some orange that's not color safe.
Oh shit! Yeah, just burn some TVs.
Just burn in on TVs with like some green to counter that.
You know how I did that little cartoony version of me for the shirt, the Cena shirt?
Yeah.
I could do that for both of us.
Yeah.
I could do that. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I need some inspiration. I mentioned earlier in the show that CM Punk is like the best branded dude ever. Maybe we'll transition to like a CM Punk type look.
Maybe. But I feel like what we had before the current stuff was very kind of, I don't want to necessarily say punk, but it had a lot of good texture to it, you know?
It was, yeah, no, yeah, I agree with that. But I can dial that back. I can dial back the amount of color.
Okay.
Like Dynamite.
You make it look like it's photocopied.
Yeah, it could be like, it look like a zine, like Going in Raw, but it's like a zine.
Okay.
Fascinated with the zine design. I love it.
Yeah.
It'll look like it's been we look like we've been photocopied several times over.
Yeah.
Copies of copies.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Something.
We'll figure it out. I do like the name Going in Raw on the WWE title thing. I think that like the big red back there. I think that looks great.
It does.
Yeah. I got to get that in here, by the way.
I know. I got to bring it next time. Maybe next time we play basketball, I'll bring it.
Are we playing tomorrow?
I don't know. Let's see how I'm feeling tomorrow. I don't feel terrible.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're like maybe under the weather here soon.
No, I'm definitely out of the weather.
Oh, you are? Oh, that's right. You mentioned that.
But I don't feel terrible. I just feel kind of meh.
I'm canceling tomorrow. We're not playing.
No. You're not canceling. I'm not giving you. I'm not going to let you make that call.
Because you know what? No, you know what? You do this shit. You do this shit where you do too much. And I have to protect you. I have to protect you sometimes.
Are you just mad because I played so well yesterday when I was coming down with whatever?
I don't get mad anymore. I do not get mad. You know why? I was thinking, no, I get mad at my own performance sometimes. But no, because, you know, I was thinking about, I don't know why I was thinking about, because your wife at the thing was telling me about how you bitch and moan about your legs. And I'm thinking I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it just got me thinking on the way home. One day that's going to be a thing of the past. And I hope it's 20, 30 years from now.
Well, into the future, yeah.
But that our basketball sessions are going to be one of the things that I look back on and say, God damn it, that was fun.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we got to get as many in as we can now.
You're not doing it tomorrow because I got to protect my investment because I want to
No,
keep on
because if
playing
I wake up
basketball.
tomorrow and I'm like, I feel great. I feel brand new. You're going to try to tell me, oh, I got to protect you from you, Larson.
Yeah, because
no way.
because I don't think you're honest with yourself sometimes. It's like
I'm very honest with
when
myself.
you try to say that almond butter is better than peanut butter. It's not.
It is for me.
It's not. That's a lie. I've had almond butter. It's terrible.
You're
compared to
speaking
peanut
about
butter.
yourself. I'm saying for me. I
I'm
don't
saying
like the
for you
taste of
too.
peanut. No,
I'm
you
saying
don't.
for you too.
You don't share my taste buds.
I'm human just like you. Our taste buds are virtually identical.
Not true, because I don't really like peanut butter. I never have. I've never been
lie.
a huge.
It's a lie. Why are you lying to me right now?
I've never liked peanut butter cookies. I've never been a huge peanut butter
they're
person.
so good though, especially with milk. Oh, they're so good.
No, I don't like peanut butter cookies. I prefer.
But you like almond butter or almond butter? It's horrible.
I prefer the taste. Yeah, no, it's not horrible. Not to me.
I think you're lying. One day, I'll get you.
You gotta get the almond butter like I have. It's just raw almond butter. There's no fillers, nothing else in it. It's just almonds. And it's delicious.
All right, another time. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. I got to protect you, though. Got to protect my investment. I got to protect my
you
best
don't
friend.
protect me. You're not my keeper.
I am your keeper. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.